Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Mental Health Warrior program. And we're going to do a series of get started videos to help you because, as they said, that first step on any journey is always the hardest. So, my idea was let's create a series of videos, introduce the program, introduce some of the resources, and give you some of those first steps that are needed. We're going to do it together. That's the exciting part. Now, actually, let me back up though, because I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Bruce Schutter, and I created the Mental Health Warrior program. Now, you may ask, why did you create this, Bruce? Good question. The reason being is I struggle with bipolar disorder, alcoholism, anxiety disorders, PTSD from my time as an EMT during high school and college time. Now, together, those four challenges, they controlled my life. And this all started back in high school. Now, many of you may relate if you feel like you're different. You feel like you have challenges, like I felt I was always on the emotional ends of the spectrum. I didn't know what it meant to just be on a positive train because next thing you know, depression would come sweeping in. Now, I didn't know that was bipolar disorder. All I knew was I didn't seem to have any control over it. And what I did was I decided I'd hide from things. I'd hide from my emotions. Because as I mentioned, as I jumped into life, and certainly when I got into the EMT and working with the local rescue squad, I jumped into the deep end of the pool of life with emotions, life or death situations, and all the things we're just learning as we're going through high school. And what happened was I didn't know how to handle my emotions. I, matter of fact, tried to hide from them all the time. Now, many of you may relate. There's a lot of factors on why I hid. There was a lot of things about we didn't even talk about mental health some years ago. But today we still are facing those same struggles. Now, what happened to me is for 20 years, those struggles controlled the direction of my life. As I went through high school, into college, as I went into the job market and worked in the IT field, everything was controlled, believe it or not, by my challenges because I didn't know how to handle my emotions, so I didn't try to take any actions. And what happened was I just tried to tried to get by, tried to use any of those words, I think you know what I mean, in trying to let my challenges and push them aside. Which meant instead of dealing where bipolar would spin me around through the emotions or that constant anxiety from generalized anxiety disorder, what happened was I gave up my power. That's the best way I can put it. Not a good way, but that's what happened. And for 20 years on the outside, my life looked like it was moving forward, moving upwards. I was going through college. I went and graduated and got a job. I eventually got married. I had friends who did stuff. But everything was done with the challenges in charge. Everything was done to hide from my emotions. And a big part of that too is why I included and why alcohol became that crutch. Substance abuse, alcoholism, any of those things that help us hide from our emotions. I did it, and what happened was after 20 years, while on the outside it looked like life is going good, on the outside people would see me smiling. They didn't see what happened behind the scenes for those 20 years. They didn't see how I crumbled every night. They certainly didn't see how nothing made me happy. What happened was I felt so powerless after 20 years that I tried to end my life. And I got a second chance. And what I decided was there has to be a better way. We're missing something with mental health. One, we need to put emotions front and center. Two, we, meaning myself included, need to learn to manage them and take charge of them. But when we do that, I realized that was the secret. I realized I was treating them as my enemy when they were actually the power I needed to triumph over my challenges, to put myself back in the driver's seat. And the reason I'm bringing that up because we're talking about why I created the program. And the Mental Health Warrior program has a great line that I want you to remember. It's about putting you in charge of your mental health. Yes, you, meaning also me, but you. We're going to be in charge of our mental health because we know what we have to do. We know the work, and when we do the work, we should be involved. And secondly, when you get all of those tools and you fill your tool belt, your warrior tool belt, as I like to call it, or you're able to do and triumph over challenges like handle the anxiety and give a public speech or give a work presentation, you can keep moving forward as a warrior. So the key thing to take away from where my story started and the reason this program is here today is to put you in charge of your mental health. And the exciting part is that gets us all in the game. It gives us a reason to take action every day because the results are going to come back to the person in charge. They're going to come back to you. They're coming back to me every day. And that's the exciting part. So the reason I explain that too is I know self-help is not something we're used to hearing with mental health. And I understand that, but we're going to take this in a new direction because I have found, and this has worked for me for the last 17 years, I have been able to manage my challenges. I have been able to actually have fun in life. I've been able to actually laugh at some of my past mistakes. I like to bring that up because humor is a great tool. And one of the things I feel is if you can laugh at some of your old way of thinking, well, then you've certainly changed and you have a new mindset. Because before, I wouldn't even want to bring it up. I didn't want to discuss my mental health, certainly not my emotions. And today, I can talk to them openly like we're doing right now. So, point of this is to welcome you to the Mental Health Warrior program. Give you a quick synopsis. You'll see lots of information about my story and more about the program. But the key takeaway is this is a self-help approach, or think of it as self-empowerment. That's exciting because it is going to give you the tools and the ability to respond any time of the day in any situation and build that power, build that internal confidence, and then take your life, hang on to this, take your life in any direction you choose. There are no limits. Mental health does not mean you have limits. Mental health does not mean, or disorders do not mean you're broken. What it means is we just have a challenge in front of us. And when we become warriors, we can do things we only thought we could dream of. So that's the exciting part. Thanks for joining me for this quick synopsis and intro. Next couple of videos, we're going to jump into some of the tools. We're going to explain a little more what the program is built from, and we'll just keep getting to know each other. So thank you for listening. Look forward to talking with you more, and I hope you're excited because together we're all going to be warriors, and we're all going to take charge of our emotions, triumph over our challenges, and build the life we really want. Talk more later.